it's incumbent on a bigger slice of America than even just these little cowardly candidates to start talking about the beauty of our institutions. This is a beautiful system that we have. People around the world don't have this.
This is my video update from Larnaca, Cyprus on this Tuesday afternoon, August the 15th. Let's talk about some news. I don't know if you can see the little fishes right there. The little fishies right over there. Oh, look. That boat is the Alex. That's my boat, everybody. Just kidding. Just kidding. Alex, LL10639. All right, let's talk about Trump's indictment. Let's see here. It is 40, 42, 43 degrees right now. It is hot, very hot. I am melting. We're going to talk about Trump's indictment. And Trump was indicted again. Let's see. I think this is the fourth indictment this year, and I think it's 6 indictments overall. Trump slapped with more criminal charges. The new case targets 18 co-defendants alongside the former commander-in-chief. A Georgia grand jury has voted to indict former U.S. President Donald Trump on 41 criminal counts, including a felony racketeering charge linked to his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential race. Several of his current and former allies also face prosecution, among them ex-New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who previously served as Trump's lawyer. Remember when Giuliani was like America's mayor after 9/11? I mean, he was like the most popular person in the United States after 9/11, and now they're indicting him. Incredible stuff. I think this is connected to Trump's call with the Georgia Attorney General at the time, Raffensperger. I think this is what this indictment is all about, or at least that's the connection that they're trying to make to these charges against Trump and to these 18 other people. They say that when they arrest Trump, they're going to take his mugshot. That is what the Georgia police have said. So, that is going to make Trump's popularity surge. I think now in the polls he's at something at like 57% for the Republican nomination, and DeSantis is in second place with like 12%. So after they arrest him, now that they've indicted him again, after they arrest him and they take his mugshot, Trump's like numbers are going to go to like 70%. and that mugshot, it is going to it's going to be on every shirt, every piece of merch, every hat. I mean, it's going to be iconic. I mean, that image is going to be a huge boost to Trump's campaign and a huge moneymaker for his merch store, for everybody's merch store. But they can't resist. They have to indict him again, and they have to arrest him and get that mugshot, even though it's going to come back and hurt the Democrats and the deep state and the 3-letter agencies. They have to do it. They can't resist. There is no reverse gear. Anyway, here are some tweets that I'd like to read out to everybody. From Colin Rugg, breaking. The Trump indictments have officially been released in Fulton County, Georgia. For those who haven't been following, this really isn't breaking news at all, considering the same indictments were shared online earlier today before the grand jury even voted to indict. It was a sham since the very beginning. Yeah, so I heard that the indictments were already posted on the internet before they even announced this decision, before they even voted, the grand jury, on the indictment. So this was baked in the cake. Let's just put it that way. Kim.com, he tweeted, the desperation of the Democrats and their deep state partners to send Trump to jail reveals how worried they are. The Democrats and their shady partners turned the U.S. into a cesspool of corruption, propaganda, and censorship. They will do anything to prevent Trump or RFK Jr. Well said, Kim.com. RFK Jr. as well. They will do everything and anything to prevent Trump and to prevent RFK Jr. from winning the nomination. And RFK Jr. gave an amazing interview he had an amazing interview with Tucker Carlson on Tucker Carlson's Twitter channel, his Twitter show. An absolutely amazing interview, about an hour and 30 minutes, and they covered so many topics from Ukraine to to research laboratories, because they're not bio things, they're research laboratories, according to Victoria Nuland. They covered the assassination of John Kennedy and his father as well. I mean, it was the three-letter agencies. It was a great interview. Definitely check it out on Tucker's Twitter channel. From Clay Travis. So Atlanta's Fulton County District Attorney's Office leaked a Trump indictment on its own website a few hours before the grand jury actually indicted Trump. What a complete and total joke this all is. Yeah. This whole segment should probably be my clown world. Abe Hamadeh said, it's simple. Our country will not survive this continuous assault on the rule of law. Any suggestion that the party needs to abandon Trump to make it all go away would only reward the Democrats' destructive behavior. It's time for Republicans to unite behind President Trump. Yeah, I agree with that tweet, but unfortunately, you have a lot of rhinos, Republicans in name only, who are in the Senate, mostly in the Senate. There are a few in the House, but mostly in the Senate, and they're rejoicing at this indictment. Just to give you an idea, I'm sitting all by myself, sitting at the dock of the bay. Now, I know there's a song, Sitting at the Dock of the Bay. That I know. Stephen Miller tweeted, just so you understand the new system, the most corrupt Democrat jurisdictions will criminally charge you if you challenge their corruption. Those are the rules of the game, Mr. Stephen Miller. All right, enough of the Trump indictment. Let's move on to Moscow, to beautiful, amazing Moscow. And they are having the Moscow Security Conference. I think this is the 11th Moscow Security Conference. Look at all the fish. Those little fish, they're living the life. They are living the life. All right, the Moscow Security Conference. We had a speech from Putin and Shoigu. They said some pretty interesting things. So let's start with Shoigu, and I'm going to read you a summary of what he said. This is coming from the Twitter account of Zlati71, who is back on Twitter. Mr. Zlati71, it is good to have you back on Twitter after your brief cancellation. And also from DD Geopolitics as well. So I'm pulling from their summary of Shoigu and Putin's speech. And this is what they put out on Twitter. This is from Shoigu. Let's start with Shoigu first. The preliminary results of hostilities show that Ukraine's military resource is almost exhausted. This is what Shoigu is saying during his speech at the Moscow Security Conference. This is a huge statement from Shoigu. The preliminary results of hostilities show that Ukraine's military resource is almost exhausted. Wow. Shoigu also said that foreign advisors are using Ukrainian soldiers to practice various scenarios for military operations. Shoigu said that Russia has significantly ramped up weapons production in a short time frame. He said that in many cases, Soviet-made equipment surpasses Western models in combat effectiveness. He also said while the U.S. has previously labeled the use of cluster munitions as a war crime, they are currently supplying them to Ukraine. Russia has refrained from using such munitions so far. And finally, Shoigu said that Russia is ready to share assessments of weaknesses of Western technologies with its partners, China, Iran, India. That is what Shoigu said in summary. That is what he said during his speech at the Moscow Security Conference. And here is what Vladimir Putin said in summary during his speech at this conference. He said that certain states are sowing discord among nations, causing conflicts and forcing countries into vassal submission with the framework of neo-colonialism. And I think in this instance, Putin may be referring to Niger and what is happening in Africa. That would be my guess there. He also said that most countries are ready to defend their sovereignty, and the entire global community is tasked with collectively shaping the contours of the future. And Putin also said that the West is attempting to further escalate the conflict in Ukraine and involve other states in it. I definitely think in this statement, Putin is referring to Poland and how the collective West, NATO, the United States, the neocons, are trying to push Poland to enter the conflict in Ukraine. Duda, Morawiecki, the Law and Justice Party, which has an election in October, they are going back and forth about whether to enter the West Ukraine or not. So that was a summary of what Putin had to say at the Moscow Security Conference. There's a little bit of wind. I don't think I need my dead cat. I think I'll be able to work all of this out in post-production, but I'm going to take a chance and not put my dead cat. I don't want to interrupt the flow of this video. It has a nice flow to it, but there is a little bit of wind, so I do apologize in advance for that. From DD Geopolitics, there are multiple explosions in Ukraine right now. Lvov, Dnipropetrovsk, Vinnytsia, Khelmytsky, Rovno, Cherkasy, Zaporozhye, Lutsk, Volyn. Basically, yesterday, the Russian military, they hit all of Ukraine with missiles, Caliber missiles, and drones. And the Ukraine Ministry of Defense, they came out with a statement, and they said that they destroyed it all. They destroyed 16 Caliber missiles, and everything was destroyed. And the Russians failed in a very large military missile and drone strike in Ukraine that took place yesterday. So that is what the Ukraine Ministry of Defense is saying. Of course, you got to take the Ukraine Ministry of Defense's statements with just a pinch of salt when they say that they've destroyed all the missiles and all the drones, because their math in the past has been a little fuzzy, to say the least. The Associated Press, they're reporting that Ukraine says it stopped air attacks on Odessa, while British and Dutch jets go after Russian bombers. That is Odessa with one S, from the Associated Press. And further down in this article from the Associated Press, they have a quote from Elensky's BFF, Mr. Podolyak. And he said that the Ukrainian army does not intend to engage in conspicuous large-scale battles against the Russians as the operation moves forward. Podolyak said on X platform, formerly known as Twitter. X platform, formerly known as Twitter. It reminds me of Prince. Remember when Prince changed his name to the Symbol or something like that, and he was Symbol, formerly known as Prince, or formerly known as the artist we called Prince. That's what this X platform reminds me of. Anyway, that is what Podolyak said on the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. And then he said the goal is a piecemeal and systemic destruction of the capabilities of the enemy army, its logistics, technical potential, officers, and personnel. That's right. The new narrative is that the Ukraine military is grinding down the Russians, and that is why they are going slow. Basically, what Surovikin planned out for the Ukraine military in Bakhmut, the strategy that they employed in Bakhmut, which was to allow the Ukraine military to feed in men and resources and material into Bakhmut, so that the Russians could grind down the Ukraine military. Basically, they're taking that narrative and just reversing it towards Russia, and that's how they're explaining the very slow, big counteroffensive. And forget about all the talk that you heard from Podolyak and Elensky and Zaluzhny and Budanov and Danilov and Blinken and Kirby and Ursula and Borrell and Schultz and Duda. Forget about all the talk that you heard from them and from MSNBC and CNN and the Telegraph and BBC, where they were going on and on for months and months about how the Ukraine big counteroffensive was going to be a lightning strike to the Sea of Azov, 5 days, cut the Russian forces in half, then assault Crimea, game over, Russia done, Putin finito, end of the game, we win. Forget about all of that narrative. Just forget about it. They never said it. They never wrote about it. They never printed it. It never happened. The narrative all along has been a slow grind, according to Podolyak, a slow grind. That has been the strategy all along. I am melting. I'm melting, but I'm loving it. I wish people would throw away their trash. You know, Mr. Brown's coffee. And they just leave it right here on the dock. Shameful. That really upsets me. I'm going to throw it away. Let's see. Next story. Since we're talking about Poland a bit, Poland, they have announced that when the grain ban on Ukraine ends in September, remember, Ukrainian grain has been banned from entering the EU because 5 countries in the EU said that the Ukrainian grain was undercutting the local market prices and farmers were being harmed, and the Ukrainian grain, from what they reported, was not the best of quality, and the EU was forced to put a ban on Ukrainian grain, and this ban is going to expire in September. And Poland was one of the 5 countries that pushed for this ban. Well, Duda, Walk on the Wild Side, Lou Reed, and a da, the police, Duda, he said that Warsaw will continue to ban Ukrainian grain even after this expiration of the ban happens in September. And Duda said in a statement that Poland has done everything for Ukraine and fully supports Ukraine in their fight against Russian aggression, as Duda called it. But Poland has to look after its own best interests. And so it will keep this ban going past the September deadline because Poland does have an election. I believe that election is in October. I could be wrong about that, but I think I'm correct. The election is in October, and Law and Justice, they don't want the farmers protesting and turning against them. I wonder if Duda is going to say the same thing if he decides to move into the west of Ukraine and take Lvov. I wonder if his statement's going to be, we support Ukraine, we love Ukraine, you're our brotherly nation, but we have to do what's in our best interest, and that is why we are taking Lvov. I wonder if that's going to be his statement. All right, we have a bit of an Elensky curse. It's like a pre-clown world before we get into our main clown world. And I think this is an Elensky curse. I'll categorize it as that. We have the Latvian Prime Minister Krišjānis Kariņš resigning. His government has collapsed. He is resigning. He served as prime minister since 2019, but he failed to convince coalition partners of a cabinet reshuffle, and he has resigned. And now I believe the president is tasked with trying to form a new government, or he has to give the task to the other parties in Latvia so that they can try to form a new government. If they can't form a new government, I guess you have elections. I don't know. People in Latvia, let me know what happens if a new government cannot be formed. But I think this is an Elensky curse. This guy, this prime minister, he's not a guy, he's a prime minister, Alex. His name is Krišjānis Kariņš. He is a distinguished politician and prime minister. And some background on him that I found. He was, Mr. Kariņš, is an American-born linguist and businessman by profession. Previously served as Latvia's Minister of Economics. He became prime minister in 2019 after months of contentious talks, surviving a no-confidence vote the same year. An American-born linguist and businessman. I wonder if this guy's like WEF globalist pedigree. I wonder. I'm positive that this guy's nothing to do with the globalists and the neocons and three-letter agencies and the WEF, but I don't know. You know, I hear stuff like American-born linguist and businessman who served as Minister of Economics, and I say to myself, sounds globalist to me. But I've been wrong before, many times actually, so I could be wrong. Maybe Kariņš is a stand-up guy looking after the best interests of Latvia. Let's do a clown world now. And for this clown world, we have to talk about Russia running out of weapons. Oh, God. Alex, you really are melting. Let's see. Russia running out of weapons. We had an opinion piece in the website Defense News, and the title of this article from Michael Ronert, who is with the RAND Corp think tank. He wrote an article with the title, How F-16s for Ukraine Could Harm Russia Without Taking a Single Shot. And then Business Insider, they picked up on this article from this RAND Corp think tank expert, and they summarized his article, and their title is, Russia is quickly depleting its fleet of warplanes through overuse, and Ukraine deploying F-16s could worsen the situation. Experts. Basically, what this article is saying is that Russia is overusing their military aircraft as they are fighting Ukraine, and this overuse will obviously get worse with time. And in the next year, when Ukraine gets long-range missiles, ATACMS and the wonder weapon Taurus missiles from Germany, when they get the long-range missiles, when they get more super-duper Patriot air defense systems, and when they get the F-16s with the 6 pilots that speak perfect English, when they get all these things in the next year, it is game over for the Russian military and the Russian Air Force, because their planes will be old and overused and breaking down, and there'll be no match for the Ukraine Air Force, the 6 pilots that speak perfect English and their F-16s. And the Taurus missiles and the Patriot air defense, it's game over. That's basically what this article is saying. Russia's running out of weapons. They're going to be running out of aircraft. Their aircraft is going to be overused. And just give it another year to flatten the curve. That's it, everybody. Give it another year. Just keep on supporting Elensky. Keep the money flowing to Elensky. Keep the military aid going to Elensky. Forget about Maui, forget about Hawaii. Ukraine is more important for the Biden White House, for the neocons, for the neolibs. Keep the money flowing to Ukraine. In 6 months or in 1 year, they're going to flatten the curve, and Putin will be defeated because his Air Force will just crumble. That is what this article is saying. And he goes through the numbers. He says Russia started out with 900 planes, and they've lost 50 planes or 100 planes. Another 130 are going to be overused. And he just goes through all of this number crunching, and he comes to the conclusion that in the next year, it's all just going to fall apart for the Russian Air Force. And they're not going to be able to provide cover for their military, and that's when the Ukraine military is just going to roll right through the Donbass and Crimea. Oh boy. Russia. Russia's running out of everything, it seems. What can you do? And I was just there and everything looked fine, but maybe I was duped. Maybe I was duped. Everyone that showed me amazing hospitality and talked to me about the situation in Russia and showed me around and took me to different places. I think you all were duping me. I don't know what's going on because Russia's running out of everything and the ruble is at 100 to the dollar. Oh boy, what's going to happen? Because Russia really needs those dollars and those euros because they can't do anything with those dollars and those euros. So, they really need to depend on the ruble euro USD exchange because those dollars are going to come in handy so that Russia can purchase nothing because they've been sanctioned from everything and they're out of the system. But anyway, let's do one more clown world and we'll wrap it up. And this clown world is from the king of clowns, Mr. Elensky, the clown puppet leader of Ukraine. In his nightly statement yesterday, his nightly Instagram, TikTok statement, he told Ukrainians to avoid bars and clubs. The Ukrainian president claimed everyone is at war and must be working for victory. So he was telling the people of Kiev, the people of Ukraine that are partying it up in Odessa. They're hanging out on the beach and they're going to the big nightclubs in Odessa. He told all of them to stop going to bars, stop going to clubs, and start supporting the military effort. And this video statement from Elensky was just pure desperation from Elensky. And why should people in Ukraine listen to Elensky when he's doing photo shoots with his wife for Vogue magazine, when he's making videos using green screens, and he's wearing this green sweatshirt and green sweatpants as he's traveling to NATO and hanging out with NATO officials, and his wife is allegedly shopping in Paris. Why should anyone take Elensky seriously? Elensky, suit up, tie, suit. That's how people will take you seriously, and lay off all the partying, my man. Anyway, that is the video, everybody. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, and Rockfin. And go to the Duran shop. Pick up a Duran hat. 10% off. Use the code Good Day. This is my Duran Grease hat. Say goodbye to our friends, the little fishies. We are signing out from Larnaca. Take care.